Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Sunday services at Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. We are a loving and prospering community in the heart of Denver and online. We now conduct hybrid services at the historic Grant Avenue Community Center and Sacred Place, located at 216 South Grant Street, Denver, Colorado. All are welcomed here. A place, space, and face of love. We are a spiritual community practicing universal principles that enrich our lives. We are grateful that you have blessed us with your presence. While online, we'd love to know you're watching with us. Feel free to leave a comment and let everyone appreciate you. With everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. CSL Denver wants you to know we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for personal prayer work. Our licensed spiritual practitioners' names and phone numbers are available on our website at csldenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, feel free to email it to info@csldenver.org. For your convenience, you'll find clickable links in the description of this broadcast. Rev Elzia, along with all our guest speakers, practitioners, service coordinators, and musical inspirations, want you to know how truly grateful we are that you are with us today. Thank you for your continued support and participation in our services, workshops, and events, as well as providing financial contributions to our center. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Sign up by visiting www.csldenver.org. We deliver services in a hybrid format where we meet in person at 216 South Grant Street. We will also continue to live stream all services on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday. Find us on our respective channels as well as on New Thought Media Network. Again, thank you for your precious attention. Now prepare for engaging enlightenment.
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Beautiful fall morning here, isn't it? I'm so glad that the heat is no longer with us as much. So I invite you to sit back in your seat and close your eyes if you choose for our opening invocation, and just take in a deep breath and just release it. And just moving into that space and that place of love that we have created here in this community of Center for Spiritual Living Denver, knowing that we are all divine beings of God, those unique individual expressions of the divine. And as we move into this service and Reverend Elzia shares his wisdom and his information with us, knowing that we can take that out into the rest of our day and our week and our lives, knowing that it will move in our lives and help raise our consciousness and just be the divine beings that we are. And I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed with CSL Denver. I'm so grateful for everybody who's chosen to come here this morning in person or online, knowing that it is the right and perfect place to be for yourself at this time right now. And so from that place of deep, deep gratitude, I release this into that one mind, that one heart, knowing that all is well, and it is so. And so it is. So Tim is ill this morning. He was supposed to be the reader and the platform person, so I'm doing his reading for him. So I don't know where he got the reading from, but it's full of wisdom. As we learn, grow, and develop through our ongoing spiritual practices, we begin to recognize more clearly what is ours to do and be. Our direction may shift from what we initially thought as we listen inward and receive new guidance. Being able to pivot and move in a different direction takes courage, faith, and trust. Listening to spirit and acting on the inner messages we receive is akin to planting seeds in our garden. Each inner nudge of guidance is a seed that requires us to act upon it when we actively explore our transcendent purpose. We naturally elevate our conscious awareness. We continue to rise in our spiritual journey by remaining open, humble, and filled with faith. As we grow and mature spiritually, we become more aware of where we need to divest or shift our focus. There is no need for arrogance as we reach higher states of awareness. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, let us take our bloated nothingness out of the path of the divine circuits. This means that as we move our humanness aside to allow our divinity to shine through, we gain greater clarity through our elevated understanding. Ernest Holmes taught that awareness involves a deep inner knowing and acceptance of the universal truth and the divine presence within you rather than an external event. Quotes like, "Peace comes from the absence of fear, from a consciousness of trust, and we have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact in the outer," highlight the idea that true awareness is an internal state of spiritual realization and trust in a higher power. To become aware, you must abandon destructive thoughts and embrace a mindset that aligns with the infinite good present in all things. And from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, there is nothing in the universe that limits you or could desire to limit you. There is nothing in the universe that withholds from you, because in so doing, it would withhold from itself. You are part of its purpose. Spirit seeks, urges, and pushes you to fulfill itself. And this is from his Thoughts Are Things book. And now we'll listen to Susan Clark singing some of Melissa Phillippe's songs. A song.
Hello, CSL Denver. Susan Clark with you to provide some music for your service. I always like to extend a very special welcome to any of you who might be joining us either now or later online. We're happy that you decided to tune in and see what CSL Denver is all about. I picked out a song by Melissa Felipe, and this is called Infinite Possibilities.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning. And welcome to CSL Denver, a place, a space, and a face of love. A spiritual community teaching universal principles and applying ancient wisdom to our lives and the lives of others so that we are empowered, so that we are elevated, and so that we are excited to be exactly who God has created us to be. Now, you know, I was on my way this morning, and you know how you're a kid and they say you're going to the fair, or you know, and you just waiting to get to the fair, and they just and you're so excited. And that's how I felt this morning coming to service today to talk about this idea, continuing with our monthly theme of transcendent purpose. And the topic is just spot on. Mission possible. Elevating our awareness. And so as we just let that sink in for a minute, let's just go within. Let's close our eyes if it feels comfortable, or lower your gaze, and let's create a container to contain all this energy I got this morning, because amen. We'll stop right there. So let us take a breath together. Breathing in possibility and exhaling limitations. Today we open our mind and hearts to the truth that with God all things are possible. Spirit has already equipped us for our mission, regardless to what it is, and we look for the perfect mindset to allow this energy to flow through us. Because if we allow our mind's eye to see and not our physical eye, we are allowed to align ourselves with creativity and understanding. So we affirm that each heart gathered here today is open, receptive, and ready to hear that still small voice that awakened us to our transcendent purpose. May this time together awaken us and align us with the eternal flow of life, inspiring us to be radiant expression of the divine. And so I declare and send forth blessings to everyone that hears this message, knowing that this space is holy, this time is transformational, and that these words are nourishment to our soul. And so it is. Amen. And so when we think about the title today, Mission Possible, I bet dollars to donuts everybody said, is that a misprint? Should that be Mission Impossible? Because that's what we see, Mission Impossible. I think they did that for theatrics to get you pulled in, but they knew it was Mission Possible. And if you remember the original Mission Impossible, Ethan Hunt would sit down with the cassette and it would play and smoke, and it would, you know, it would just take, well, self-destruct, and boom. Now that self-destruction, we'll talk about that self-destruction part later, but every time he heard the message and it self-destruct, what did he do? He pulled out his briefcase, he took the notebook out, and he had a portfolio of individual people who had the mindset of Mission Possible. Not Mission Impossible, Mission Possible. And so he would flip through after he heard the mission, he would flip through, and you'd see last week he chose that guy and that girl, but this week he chose another guy and another girl to be a part of the team for Mission Impossible. For Mission Impossible. Giving us that idea that each day is a brand new mission. He didn't use the same people he had last time. Some of them he may have, But he looked at the situation of the moment and said, I need a team to handle this. Looking at that cycle. And so what a perfect time, as Alice said, this fall season happens technically tomorrow, but I'm looking out the window and I see it right now. And it just so happens that it's a new moon in Virgo, the harvest moon, as they call it. Now, you know, I know some people look at, they say, what are you talking about? I'm talking about what the old folk used to talk about when they would go and pull out the almanac. And they look at the almanac and they'd figure out, okay, it was time to do ABC, whatever that was, depending on your region and temperature and all of that. Mission possible. They didn't come in there saying it's impossible. They came in with an awareness and a mindset of mission possible. And so when we look at the moon cycle, which is the impetus, if you will, for the almanac, it was a way of looking at the signs and symbols of the divine to understand and be aware of what is going on. And even to this day, they are still printing the almanac. And you better believe they're selling, because if they weren't selling, they would not be still making them. So there's a wisdom here in observation and awareness and understanding that we are asked to do every month. And we're just going to highlight it for the day and put everybody on the right track so that we can begin to think in the ways of the universe, which is cycles. And so one of the things about these new moons and in terms of mission possible, you sit down and it's a brand new beginning. You sit down with practical steps, right? Anybody that has a farm or anybody that's ever lived on a farm, they are not sitting there at the table drinking coffee trying to figure out, well, what we're going to do with all the food still on the stock. And they are making practical steps and a plan to get the harvest in, to turn the soil that needs to be turned before the winter comes and it gets too hard in this barren land the next time I get ready to plant in the spring. See, we have gotten so off track with the minutia, and sometimes we need the minutia, but the thing to have is an insight and a vision and an awareness. So what is awareness? That's the question of the hour. What is awareness? We hear the word in spiritual circles, just, you know, sprinkle like water. But how many of us really take a moment to understand what it is? Because you see, we live in a world of oneness, a divine, infinite oneness that connects all things, universe, unity. Pick the words that resonate with your soul to get the feeling tone of what we're talking about here. Because you see, from the essence of all there is, we are taught that it is consciousness. Consciousness is the ground of all being. And once we tap into that, the logical next step is awareness. I can't be aware of anything I'm not conscious of. I'm not aware of what's going on in the room next door because I'm not conscious of it. But there are many different ways I could go over there and be conscious. There's some people can kind of, you know, tune into what's going over there. But once we understand that consciousness is everywhere present, the ability to step into awareness is the logical next step. The logical next step. It's not like I got to figure it out it's logical next step. And once I become aware, the next part of this experiment called life, if you will, begins to kick in, and that is observation. Even though something may be going on in the room, if I hear something and I'm aware, I'm going to observe that sound or that knocking on the door or whatever, because that's the logical next step. We move from consciousness to awareness to observation. And when we get those observations, then we kick into the realm that we almost always deal with, and that's feelings and emotions. Most of us, we do all them first things. We don't even think about that. We just go straight to the feelings and the emotions and get lost in fear, in doubt, and all these things. But we're working on a mission possible to elevate our awareness, to understand that, yeah, okay, oftentimes I hear something in the other room, I might be curious, but on other times I might be, oh my Lord, what is that? Is it coming to get me? Should I run? So these feelings, if you will, are like the gauges in your car. You look at the gas gauge and the oil gauge and the speed gauge, you don't ignore them. You say, oh, gas low, need to get gas. Going too fast, need to slow down. That's what emotions and feelings are in our lives. They are gauges to help us navigate and create and obtain this mission possible with an expanded and elevated awareness. Now, the question that I wrestle with on this mission possible, if we believe that God is all there is, and there's no place where God is not, and there's nothing that God cannot do, why do we go into the situation with the idea and mindset of mission impossible? Is it lack of information? No. If it's lack of desire? No. Well, what is it? It is the lack of aligning ourselves with universal principles that are everywhere present, regardless to who you are, what you look like, where you come from, how you talk. None of that matters when the universal laws, these universal principles we speak of in our opening statement, when you understand and align yourself with those, everything becomes just a process. It's just a process. So when we begin to reframe this mission impossible to mission possible, that requires us to have faith. That requires us to do the things to get to the point that we always hear people talk about in New Thought, and that's this big commercial thing now called manifestation. Ain't nothing manifest unless you do something, period. So we have to begin to understand that with faith and understanding what it means to manifest. That means I got to do something. I got to have practical steps. I got to have a plan. I got to have a vision. Now we're ready for the journey. We're ready to be mission possible. Because our mission is not to struggle. Our mission that doesn't mean things won't get hard, but struggling and hard are two different things. Struggling and challenge are two different things. I can overcome a challenge. A struggle is just continual, perpetual cycle from a thought of mine. So the biggest challenge for us to move into this mission possible expanded awareness is you gotta get rid of doubt. Now these are some hard things. They're easy little small words, at the 4-letter words. Doubt and fear. We got to get rid of those. Not because we don't get down to the last rung of that ladder or the top rung of feelings and emotions, but because we understand and we have faith in the process. We understand that the divine mind of God is always present. Always present. And once we are awakened to this, it's like, you know, Ernest talked about plants, and I come from the South and farms, and I just love those metaphors that I learned. You have the horse with the blinders on. And they put the blinders on, why? Because they want to train that horse to look one way. Do not increase your peripheral vision, because that horse might see an apple tree over there, and you lost. The apple won. So we walk around now, we have been trained because we have been miseducated about the presence, the power of this thing called life, called God, called Yahweh, called Allah, called the Tao. They call it different things in different places because, as we said in the beginning, people speak different languages. Not to confuse anybody, but so when I talk to these people, they understand me. When I talk to these people, they understand me, because it's about understanding. And without understanding, I can't apply the principles, the universal principles that are, to make my life and your life exceedingly successful. And so once we awaken, we take these blinders off. Now, all the tools that we have of visioning and affirmation and journaling, these things now have a meaning. Other than that, I'm afraid to say, they're just exercises in futility. Think about the last time you wrote into your journal, or you said an affirmation, or you said a treatment or prayer. Where was your full presence? Mind, body, soul, and spirit. Were you anchored in that? You know, raise your hand and shame the devil. There was a couple of times I wasn't in there. My body was there, but I was somewhere else. I don't know where I was. And the results of my prayer resulted in what was taking place. The prayer, it may have come, but it didn't come where I was asking for it. Because somewhere inside, I had a mission impossible complex. Fear, doubt, unassured of myself, lack of confidence that I could stand in this place and do ABC because all of this in front of me. We are empowered now more than ever. We are called now more than ever. Pick your situation, your circumstances, your news feed, your Twitter feed, to figure out what that is. And we need you. We need you to be stepping forth with a mission possible, with a divine mission that's beyond recognition. Look, in Matthew 19:26 sets the stage. With God, all things are possible. Not some things, not your things, not my things. All things are possible. When are we going to believe that? Or a better question, do you believe that? That's the better question, not when you're going to believe it. Do you believe it? Because we say we are spiritual beings and we practice this teaching and yada, 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 and we meditate, and ooh-wee. But our life is a friggin' mess. We got all these tools we tell everybody else to use to make their life better, to get what they want, to manifest. And I'm looking at you and I'm saying, that stuff don't work. Because if you selling that and I'm looking at this, I'm gonna pass. And since we live now in a world where it looked like everything, unfortunate, everything is a sales pitch. To go to the doctor to check on your health comes across in the commercials as a sales pitch. It don't come across as concern and compassion and we got a cure, come on and get it. We have to begin to think mission possible. And the way to do that is to expand our awareness. We have to look at life holistically. We have to look at life with the eyes of God that are omnipresent, omniscience, omni. We should change our name to Omni something so that we're always on the scene. Omni. I'm going to change my name to Omnizia. Because without that, we allow the fear and all that stuff to creep in. And so when we can allow that to take place, the biggest challenge is overcoming these doubts, overcoming this fear, overcoming this self, dare I say, deprivation. Now, most people won't like that word because that has a lot of connotations. But when you think about it, it might fit. Like, you know, Cinderella, the shoe. If it fits, well, I don't know what to tell you. So how do we move beyond this? How do we step into the original casting of Mission Impossible? Just flip the words to Mission Possible, but do what Ethan Hunt did. Every morning I get up and I look at my tools, I look at my mindset, I look at the awareness that I'm bringing to the day, and who am I going to choose to be a part of this team, this divine team? Ernest Holmes said this. Ernest said, there is nothing in the universe that limits you or could desire to limit you. There is nothing in the universe that withholds from you, because in so doing, it would withhold from itself. You are part of its purpose. Spirit seeks, urges, and pushes you to fulfill itself. If God is the only thing present, if God withholds something, then it's withholding it from itself. Ernest would say, a house divided against itself cannot stand. Oh boy, it looked like a house on shaky ground right now. But we have the tools to fix it. I think about all these, you know, when I said that, some of y'all might, I'm gonna date myself. There was this program called the $6 Million Man. And $6 Million Man was an astronaut. Now just look at the metaphors here. Was an astronaut exploring the cosmos. And he got into an accident for whatever reason. We can put a label on it, don't matter. But the thing that was important was they were looking at him and you know, you could, the way they did it, it looked like God was looking in. And they said, boy, pretty messed up. I don't know. But then the light came on and the thing was beeping, and it says, but we have the tools. We have the technology. We have the know-how to rebuild them, to remake them stronger, faster, smarter. Thus, the $6 Million Man or the $6 Million Woman. They had a $6 Million woman too, the Bionic Woman, just to be balanced in the universe. Possible. It's all possible. We have to stop thinking impossibility and step into the possible. Infinite possibilities is what the song said. It's a divine attribute. A divine attribute. So the more, or life is more than a grind. It's more than this drudgery. Think about the last time you went on a mission or a journey or a venture. Did you start out humdrum? Did you start out with doubts about the destination that you were going to? You got the car packed, the tank full, and did you start thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't go on this trip? No. You were excited for the adventure, for the opportunity, for the learning. Joseph Campbell, one of our famous wayshowers, said, We are so engaged in doing things to achieve purpose of outer value that we forget that the inner value, the rapture that is associated with being alive, is what it's all about. That's what an adventure is. There may be some trepidations going on, but I'm stepping forth in life every day, regardless of the circumstances, with the mission possible attitude. A mission possible attitude. Now, the trick is, this is not a weekend retreat. I'm sorry to tell you, it is not a weekend retreat. This is an everyday occurrence in your life. But if we take it and work with it as if it's a weekend retreat, our results will be hit and miss. It'll be hit and miss. And then we'll be trying to figure out, did I waste my money on that retreat or what? Maybe, maybe not. But the real question is, what was the intention? If you're going in, it has to be a full embodiment. When we talk about these teachings or any teachings of the spiritual nature, they always speak to the idea of embodiment. That means that fourth thing on that thing of consciousness, awareness, observation, emotion, and feelings, that's where you got to get with this teaching. You got to feel it. You got to be emotional about it. And if you're not, raise your hand. Why? Ask yourself, why am I not feeling it? I'm telling people I'm feeling it, but I ain't feeling it. I'm gonna leave that right there. So to raise our consciousness, to elevate our consciousness, our awareness, we must begin to think beyond the blinders that we have on. We must think beyond the appearance of things. For example, if we were at the pool and I took a stick, and I put a stick and touched the bottom of the pool. If you looked at that stick from your present state of view, it would look like the stick was moving or broken, or, it wouldn't look like a straight stick. Let's just put it that way. However, if I dived into the pool and looked at the stick, straight as an arrow. Straight as an arrow. Regardless to appearances of what it looks like when I look at it on the surface. We got too many surface things going on in our lives that we can't manifest things. Whatever it is, health, relationship, job, conversations with God. Pick one, anyone, all of them. We look too shallow. We look too surface to make things happen in our life. And now it's a process. You got to work it. It ain't a weekend retreat, but it is possible. Because we see it every day. People who come out of extraordinary situations to achieve amazing things, and we sit back and marvel, which we should, but we should be marveling at, this is what happens when you follow the process with faith. With faith. Dr. King said, you take the first step even though you can't see the second step. How many of y'all ready to do that? How many of us doing that? Because that is what it takes. That is what it takes. And so, just to set the stage for these 3 points, Dr. Holmes said, seed, soil, plant is the process, or a process, to remind us of what we're doing. And now when you look at a seed, and that's why in the Bible it talks about the mustard seed. When you look at the mustard seed, it seems so frail on the surface, so insignificant. Yet when you plant it, it goes through the process and it produces beyond your wildest dreams. Beyond your wildest dreams. So when are we going to do that with our life? When are we going to have the faith of a mustard seed? All it needs is the right conditions, the right care, the right love, and it'll grow, whatever it is. So how do we begin to step into our own mission of life? Well, the first thing, I'll let Proverbs start us off. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people will perish. You got to have a clear vision of what you're doing, where you're going, why you're doing it. Without that, you're a wanderer. You're just wandering. And ain't nothing wrong with wandering if that's what you want to do. But don't tell me you wandered your whole life and now you feel you haven't accomplished anything because you didn't set a vision. The two are not mutually exclusive, by the way. I can wander a little bit and then tap back into my vision. But there has to be a vision to move you towards living life fully. Got to do it. Must be clear about what it is. Must be clear. So that begs the question for us to ask ourselves, if not every morning, at least every week, what is that divine mission for me? What is my vision that I'm trying to move towards? How many times have you woke up in the morning, you had a clear understanding that I need to get ABC done today, but you didn't hold a vision? You got up and you went and did ABC or whatever it was. You got back home at the end of the day and you realized, I was supposed to get my license changed today. My tag expired. I was supposed to make that appointment. I was supposed to meet my friend. Whatever it is. The vision has to be clear and we got to hold it. And you can't be afraid. When Moses went into the wilderness, he had a vision, but he was scared at first. And what did God say? Take off your shoes, meaning be humble, get centered, get grounded, and be aware. Be aware. I'm going to set the bush on fire just to see how aware you are to make the parallel. I'm just checking. That's how we have to live life. These lessons, whether you consider them true or not, they are powerful lessons for us to understand this thing called life, this thing called you. And next week, we're going to have a community capoeira on this thing called you, and then we're going to have a class, 4-week class on it. If you don't understand you, ain't none of this possible. You got to understand who you are to work in this environment. So that's the first thing. Got to have a vision. The next thing is faith is a process. Now, trick question. How many people have ever seen faith? Nobody's seen faith? You see the actions are the results of faith. You don't never see faith. That's why we know it's a process. That's why we know, as it says in the Science of Mind, it says faith is a mental attitude so inwardly embodied that the mind can no longer deny it. Magic word, embodied. And so there's this person called Anonymous that said this. That's a profound person. Faith doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means moving through fear with trust. Because I trust the process. I know if I plant the seed and I water it, care for it, I don't need to worry about it. Ernest used to say, you don't plant it today and go dig it up tomorrow to see if it's got roots. It has a process to go through. Same with us. We're no different. We didn't come to the earth. We came out of the earth. Same processes, same cycles reside within each and every one of us if we want to activate them. And this activation happens on the seen and the unseen plane. Within the, they said within the prayer, the answer is already in the prayer. The seen and the unseen parts of it. That yin and yang. That's the ball game. And when we can make that part of the vision in terms of understanding, our awareness expands and everything becomes possible. And last but not least, after we've set a clear vision, we understand that we got to have faith, which means we got to activate the process. The last thing is we have to align with action. Align with action, not just words. We know words come into things, but they only come into things when you got action. And those actions have to be in alignment. It's like the gears on your bike. If they're not in alignment, you're not going very far. But when they're in alignment and you got some action, you pedaling, you can shift gears and go up the steepest hill or shift them down and go down the steepest hill. Very simple approach to life if we just get back and grab it. Get back and grab it. Vision and faith are incomplete without actions. You can have all the vision and all the faith, but if there's no actions, it's incomplete. And so the Tao puts it this way: the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Not even a whole lot of action, just one step. Are we ready to embrace this purpose called life, this thing called life, this thing called you, and expand our awareness and vision? Because a person waiting for the perfect time to start their business or to answer a calling may be waiting forever, because it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with taking that first step. So we know thought, belief, actions manifest demonstrations. And so we call forth the divine spirit. We give thanks for the truth that each and every one of us carries a divine mission within us. A divine mission that is based on sound principles for us to succeed. And so as we just close our eyes for a minute and take a deep breath and breathe all this in, we know that every word that was spoken will hit the right place at the right time and bear the right fruit as our mission possible unfolds. As we step into that enlightened mind, that open heart, and that receptive soul to be guided by the divine. And so we give thanks right here, right now, and we know that this is absolutely true. And we resonate right now, and so it is. And so, as always, there are actions. There's some call to action. There's some work. There's some steps. And somebody asked me last time, why did I do 3? I said, because I could. And that's why I got 3 again. So pick one, pick them all, but do something. The first thing is, what old belief of impossible are you willing to release? You're the only person that can answer that. I'm the only person that can answer that for me. But we know we have some impossible thoughts still hanging around because of where we live, our age, our looks, our whatevers. Is it time to let that go? Then the next thing is, what first step can you take in faith to get that thing moving, to get it out? And so I invite you this week to take one conscious step to elevate your awareness, pausing before reacting, journaling daily, practicing gratitude, walking in nature, whatever it is, to release that idea of impossibility and step into infinite possibility. And that's the call for each and every one of us. And so to anchor this, we have this affirmation as always. I elevate my awareness through practicing the presence of God, meaning that I see God in everything. Practicing the present. God is present everywhere. And when we can do that, we move. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Mother, Father God, that complete wholeness of life, of spirit, of love, of faith, that has given each one of us access to an infinite mind that responds in kind. The image I hold before the mirror of the divine is what I get back all the time. So this encourages me, it encourages us to hold the best picture in the mirror that we can, knowing that it is a correspondence that is taking place. And so I know that each and every one of us here and those online and those who may hear this later are chomping at the bit, blinders off, ready to engage on this new moon cycle, new beginnings, to step forth with clarity, with faith, and with action. And so I know and declare that for all of us. And it is in that knowing and declaring that I give thanks. I give thanks to knowing that this process works. I give thanks for understanding that this works. And I give thanks for my opportunity each day to practice. And so with that, I just release this into that law that is always working, that is always present, that is always moving us to mission possible. And so it is, amen. So it is, amen. And so today I went long, I'm sorry, I got carried away. And I know we're going to get cut off in a minute, but if you just place your hand on your heart as we ask for this offering to support this community, this perfect gift is spirit informed, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive, and so it is. Amen. So
we're going to do Karen Drucker first, and then I'll do announcements.
Okay, we'll do Karen Drucker song to close out, then we'll do announcements. And I thank everyone for your indulgence. I told y'all the spirit was moving this morning. I'm sorry.
No,
but you know, this teaching is so vital right now, and if we.
Hey, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so